My name is Woody Williams, and when World War II came along, I knew nothing about the war except that my country was threatened, and I wanted to join the Marine Corps to protect my country and my freedom. And when I was 17, I wanted to join, but my mother said no. After I was 18, 1 month after my 18th birthday, I went into the Marine Corps recruiter's office wanting to join, and I filled out the enlistment paper, handed it to the recruiter, and he really didn't look at the paper. He looked at me and said, "I can't take you." And of course, my question was why, because I was in pretty good physical condition, I thought. And he said, "You're too short." He didn't explain that at all, no explanation. So I went on back home, back to the farm. And at that point in time, I decided, well, if I can't go in the Marine Corps, I'm going to go. I would have been drafted, of course, a little later on. But that was in November 1942. In early 1943, the Marine Corps, realizing they're going to have a whole lot more people than they had, so they lowered the height requirement so that they could take people that didn't meet the height requirement of 5'8" at that time. So the recruiter looked me up, came to my farm and looked me up and asked me if I still wanted to go in the Marine Corps, and I said, absolutely. So I went back in, filled out another enlistment paper, and of course it was accepted. But I didn't think I would ever go anywhere except stay right here in the United States to protect my country and my freedom. I didn't know anything about the South Pacific. I didn't even know there was a war going on in the South Pacific. But shortly after we got to boot camp, of course, we learned that the Marines are going to the South Pacific. That's where the war is, and that's where we're going to go. But it was quite a shock when they told me that I couldn't go because I was too short. And there were a lot of us back in those days that were too short. I've been asked many times, why did I join the Marine Corps? I knew nothing about any part of the armed services at all. I knew we had an army. Occasionally we would see a guy in army uniform. And they had that old war army uniform that wouldn't hold a crease if you ran over it with a steamroller, and it was ugly. And I did not want to wear that uniform. I wanted to look like a Marine in the Marine dress blues because they were real sharp. And I had two brothers that were drafted in early 1942, and they were drafted into the Army. And of course, they had to wear that ugly Army uniform. And I was not impressed by it at all. So my reason for joining the Marine Corps was because of the dress blues.